It's been going good. Safe travels in here. First of all, coming out of Columbus, the weather was kind of pretty bad past couple of days, so got here safely, and I think we're just thankful for this opportunity to be able to compete for a national championship and go out there and play on a national stage like this.
All right, Paris?
Yeah, I mean, this is like really cool to be down here in Atlanta. But my family moved down here recently, so it's really cool to see them too, and just be able to play on a big stage here and compete for a national championship.
All right, Chip?
I would say it's definitely been great since we've been here. It was good to go home for a little bit, see the family, but it's even better to be back with my teammates. So, but good to hit the reset button and go get the whole thing.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. All right, go ahead and jump right into questions. Raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. All right, let's start over here on the left in the fifth row, please.
This will be for Marvin. Kevin Wilson, CJ Stroud, and Emeka Ibuka, they were all talking about how Ohio State's and your offense will have to play its best football, its most complete football to go up against Georgia on Saturday. And I asked Emeka the same thing. When you think back on your season, your first season as full starter all the way through, and you reflect on your moments with Emeka, what do you think of? What comes to mind? And what do you still have to show as a wide receiver on Saturday against Georgia?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of fun this year. Just going out there playing with each other, playing with the brotherhoods, things like that. So we had a lot of fun. Obviously, we didn't complete any of our goals this year yet so far. So obviously, still a lot of work to be done. Just go out there and have fun and compete.
All right, third row on the left.
And Jordan Hill with Dogs 247. Question for Paris. What stands out to you about Georgia's defensive line and just the challenge going up against those guys on Saturday?
Yeah, they have a strong defensive line, and I believe that's probably one of the strongest units on the defense, of course. And I think it's like a matchup game up front. I think, of course, they have Stackhouse and Carter, and, they have 13, 33, and 90 on the outside that rotate a lot, along with 32. And I think that's a solid group. And they rotate a lot, and I would say their twos are almost as good as their ones. So I think it's a respectable matchup. It's definitely not. There's not anybody on their line that you overlook in terms of doing your preparations for.
All right, next we'll go right here in the front row.
Marvin, Evan Kroll with Dogs Daily. You carry the name Marvin Harrison. Your dad played in a lot of big football games, but this is kind of your first opportunity to show not just the college football world, but the entire world who you are. What do you want the world to know about Marvin Harrison Jr., not just Marvin Harrison?
I'm my own player, first and foremost. My dad, he did great things, but I'm just trying to be myself and go out there and make a name for myself and be the best receiver that I can be.
Yeah, Brooks Austin with Dogs Daily. Paris, you rattled off all those defensive linemen. How do you go about studying 6, 7 different guys? And are you taking their best move? Are you seeing where their weaknesses are? How are you going about evaluating each individual opponent?
Yeah, so usually during regular season, I only have about 4 days to do so with like a lot of guys to look at. So for me, I like to look at maybe their last 5 games, or what I would think their best 5 opponents, or if there's a tackle that I respect for another school they played, then those be the big games that I study a lot. But in terms of the bowl time, with all the days off that we had, I feel like I was able to take a look at all their games a lot while still, having the focus on the tackles that I thought were probably the best matchups that gave me the best looks at, how they played.
All right, far right side over here.
Hey, Sarah Spencer with the AJC. My question's for Marvin. When you look at this Georgia defense, what are the biggest things that stand out to you, particularly what's jumped out to you on film about this Georgia secondary that you'll be going against?
Yeah, they play very fast. They play physical. I think one thing, they have a lot of confidence in themselves to make plays. That's what great players have. Confidence in themselves that they're going to trust their instincts and trust their abilities to go out there and make plays, and they've made plays all year for them. So we're just going to have to match their energy, whether that's in the run game or the pass games, because the receivers have to go out there and make plays and compete.
All right, all the way back in the left.
Yeah, Marvin, Dom Taberi, WBNS TV, back in the back. How are you, my friend?
Good, how are you?
Just your feeling about playing indoors The weather's not going to be a factor. It's going to be a fast track. Does that give you guys a little bit of an advantage with the weaponry you have on offense?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's an advantage because they get to play indoors too. And if anything, they played in the stadium more than we have, so I think the advantage would go to them. But it's definitely nice to be able to play indoors, and weather's not going to be a factor. And in the past game, we kind of do what we want to do.
Next question. Where are we going next? All right, right here.
Cody Chaffins from Fox 5 in Atlanta. I mean, anybody can answer, but Georgia, their last half that they played was against LSU, where LSU put up a lot of yards and a lot of points. Is there anything in that can be a blueprint for you guys as you get ready for Saturday?
Chip, let's start with you this time.
I think that whole game, it was just a good game to overall analyze. Georgia's here for a reason. We're here for a reason too, but their defense is very stout, so we believe that we have to have our best game on offense, and I think we're on pace to do that with the practices we've been having. But overall, just from watching that game, LSU did some good things against them, so there's definitely a chance. Coach Day always preached, it's always a chance. Just no matter how hard you work, it's always going to be a chance we show up on game day.
All right, Paris?
I agree with Chip that watching the game, there were a lot of things like the blueprint that they use to gain yards, but also I feel like the main thing that I look at is to do exactly what some team, to do like the opposite of what the teams did, right? So there was a lot of clips I watched where there was a breakdown in the run game immediately that resulted in the negative runs, and maybe there was a lack of protection from one of the guards really early on. So I think looking at those, for me as a lineman, I like to look at the negatives as the lesson to learn before it happens. So I think those things that I saw from that game in particular were great lessons, not just for myself, but for the entire offensive line room, for this game.
All right, and Marvin?
I think at the end of the day, we just got to go out there and play our own ball. Obviously, LSU did what they did, and other teams like Missouri who gave them a good battle, played their game. So I think we just got to go out there and play our game. We have confidence in ourselves that we're going to make things work and go out there and compete. So I don't think we have to take too much from other teams. Obviously, we have to watch the film and see how other teams succeeded, but just worry about ourselves and know what we can do.
All right, let's stay on the left side all the way back again.
Dom Tiberi, guys, this is for all of you, WBNS TV. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but you are underdogs in this game. It is a home game pretty much for Georgia. We are in Atlanta. Do you feel like it's you guys against the world in this game? How big of an advantage is that for Georgia?
Marvin, start with you this time, please.
I think we kind of always thought it was Ohio against the world, even before this game. So nothing really changes. I know me personally, I'm glad we could play them, in Atlanta, in their kind of home arena. Kind of always like being, the villain and the underdog going into the game. So I'm definitely excited to be able to do that.
Paris?
Yeah, I agree with Marvin on that. That this is how you want to play Georgia here at their house, pretty much. So, and yeah, since I've been here, it's pretty much been Ohio against the world. So I think this game even exemplifies that as well, with the circumstances, what you said.
All right. Chip, thoughts on being the underdog?
I think overall the team likes it a lot. At this point, we have nothing to lose, so we're just here for a reason. I think everybody counts us out, but at the same time, this is what you take on the Buckeye name for. So we're all here to put our best foot forth and just go win the whole thing.
All right, we're going to go in the second row right here on the right.
Andy Bax from Letterman Row. This one's for Chip. Do you feel like a different running back now that you have switched and played linebacker full time? And like, what did you take away from that experience? Do you see defenses differently? How did that influence you?
I feel like it's definitely helped. Everything happens for a reason. Ultimately, first didn't come here for running back just because it was the biggest offer on the table for me at the time. But I definitely feel like it helps every time when I'm scanning every play. Definitely grateful to Coach Knowles and Coach Coy for the time I did spend in the room. But I'm also grateful for these guys that I have on offense. Ever since I've been back on offense, it's just been getting nothing but praise and confidence from my teammates, and that ultimately helps me. But I've just been grateful to be back at this position and ultimately doing whatever I can for the team.
All right, right here in the front.
Yeah, Brooks Austin with Dogs Daily. Big Ten versus SEC. The word physicality gets brought up a lot in these types of matchups. Have you guys been doing anything to, quote unquote, ramp up the physicality in the month leading up to this? And is that something you can instill within a month, or is that something you've worked on all year?
Marvin? Marvin, start with you, please.
Yeah, I think that's just how the game of football is played. Got to play it, in a physical way. I don't think we've really done anything different than we've been doing all year. We kind of have emphasized physicality throughout the whole, all season, leading into the season. Starting my coach from making the weight room, and just the kind of the practices and drills we kind of did, over time, kind of prepared us for this moment. So I want to say if we did anything different, you got to go out there and play physical, but it also takes a lot of technique and skill to win the games just as well. So it's going to take a collective of things.
Yeah, the physicality is the most important thing, is the biggest factor in this game, but by far. And I think as an offensive lineman, that is the best thing to hear, knowing that the only factor, the best way to compete for, Chip and for Marvin to do their job is for me to just out physical the guy across from me, you know what I mean? I feel like during this bowl prep, we've put in a lot of time trying to work our skill and our technique and our discipline. So when it's time for us to be out there, it's a second nature, and then all we have to do is to rely on just being able to go after a guy in front of you. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's going to take to beat them.
All right, Chip.
I feel like when you're a Buckeye, this is all you ask for. Our schedule or our practice plans have been divvy. The main thing in our program is toughness and fight. So I feel like when it comes down to the nitty gritty and you telling us that's all we got to do, that's what we're confident in, because that's where we go back to the basics and we just going back to the building blocks. That's all the mat drills, that's all the winter workouts, and that's everything we put forth in to get here at this very moment. So I feel like giving us that advantage, we're definitely comfortable with that.
All right, time for a few more. Next question, where are we going? Anybody? Okay. All the way in the back on the left, please.
Do you guys feel like bragging rights is on the line, SEC versus the Big Ten? And, you got two Big Ten teams in the playoff. You feel like there's something to be proven here?
Chip, start with you this time, please.
Me personally, I don't think we're worried about bragging rights. At the end of the day, I think all the bragging rights just go into who holding up the national championship trophy at the end of all of this when it's all said and done. So I think the main goal is just to get to that final game.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that once since we heard about this matchup at all. I think the only thing that's been on our minds is Georgia, and I think, for it to be anything else in the Big Ten and SEC is not necessary.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what they said, really. This is like conference football right here. No matter who, Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Pac-12, Big 12, whoever is playing, it's just going to be Ohio State versus Georgia.
All right, time for a couple more. Next question. All right, I got one for you guys. If you guys win this game, I think you're going to be the first team to win all 6 New Year's Six bowl games. Is that a point of pride for the program? What thoughts go through your mind of being the only team to have that opportunity?
I didn't even know that was a stat, first of all, so thank you for enlightening me on that. That'd be very nice. Credit to all the teams in the past that have won the other bowl games. We're trying to do our part. I did know this was our first time in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, so like I said, we're thankful for the opportunity. Go get a chance to make history. It's very good.
Yeah, well, like Marvin said about, being in the Woody, I think the first question that we all ask, I don't know about everybody, but for me, I ask a lot of questions sometimes about stuff in the Woody. but we don't have any years on a Peach Bowl sign in our facility. So I think, just being able to have a chance to be the first team on the list, for all the rest teams that come in the future would be like a really cool thing to have, and especially be the first one in the country to have all 6. Would be special.
All right, we'll make sure we get one of those to you. All right, Chip, what about you?
I think it's definitely grateful for us to be down here at the Peach Bowl. I think Atlanta's a beautiful city. But at the end of the day, I just know the whole Buckeye fan base and the whole Buckeye world. It's only one trophy that matters at the end of the day. So.
All right, fair enough. All right, we got a couple more minutes with these guys. Any final questions? Okay, let's go on the aisle here on the left.
Jacob Bench with the Lantern. Chip, just following more up on that, to play for Ohio State, this is your first season since transferring. You're an Ohio native and whatnot. What has that meant to you this season, and now to wear the scarlet and gray in the college football playoff against the #1 team, just to play for Ohio State, being an Ohio native, what has that meant to you all season?
All season, it's just been grateful. Me being back in the state of Ohio, really just playing ball. I'm so crazy, I really don't even get nerves anymore, just because I'm so prideful. To even be back here, putting on a scarlet and gray, and putting on a Buckeye helmet. But at the end of the day, it's definitely good just to be along with guys like Paris and other guys that's from Ohio. You definitely get that culture and you get that sense of pride on the team, and that's what we carry with us, and that's what you come here to Ohio State for. So.
Okay, right here, second row on the right.
Marvin, I meant to ask you out there, just more a question for next year probably, but what have you seen in Kyle McCord in bowl practice and maybe late in the year that obviously he could be the guy next year's competition? Yeah. What have you seen from him late this year?
Yeah, I mean, he's getting better each and every day. He practices really hard. He knows that's his game reps pretty much throughout the whole year in practice. But hopefully something happens to CJ, him or Devin, each can go in there. I think we have confidence in both of them, coaches and players. They can go in there and make a play. So I'm not really worried about next year. I think we'll kind of get to that when that time comes. But I know Devin and Kyle can both go in there and make plays. They've been practicing really hard all week.
All right, time for one more. Anybody? Last chance. Okay, final question here, left side on the aisle, please.
Jacob Bench with the Lantern. For all three of you, Kevin Wilson talked a lot about having to balance, preparing to be the next head coach at Tulsa while also being the offensive coordinator for your offense. I'm curious, just from all three of your perspectives, what have you seen working with Kevin Wilson the last couple of weeks since he's taken the new job, and just what has he meant to you guys just this season and throughout your careers at Ohio State as well?
All right. Chip, let's start with you, please.
I've actually had the chance to know Coach Wilson ever since my sophomore year of high school, so I think Coach Wilson is a great guy. Well, I think we're all definitely happy for him to get a head coaching job at Tulsa. That's every coach's dream, just to get a head coaching job. But definitely, every coach that we have on staff is definitely putting their best foot forward for this game and putting everything into the bag.
Yeah, Coach Wilson has been a friend of the family since before I was born. He coached my dad at Miami, Ohio. So I think for him, at least for me, like some people could say like, oh, how could you leave Ohio State? But for me, I feel like I have the perspective of also just wanting to see people win, and I want people to be happy and be able to continue, to do what, who wakes him up in the morning. I think that's a great opportunity for him, and excited for him with that. And I think he's definitely, when he took the job down there and he came back to practice, he was, you just see the smile and just the juice that he had to just, to really just leave it all out there, because this is his final run with Ohio State. So just to, leave it all out there, and I think it's been a great energy in the Woody, All
right, Marvin.
Yeah, I'm definitely proud of Coach Wilson. Be to go out there and to continue on his coaching career and to be the head coach. I kind of see him every day in the Woody. He's always holding his little coffee cup, and he's always speaking to me. We just have good conversations. So I'm very grateful to have a coach like that. Help me in the run game a little bit and blocking. Like I said, I'm very proud of him. He's going to do great things at Tulsa.